There's something about a trio done right that's going to get me hooked every time. The Powerpuff Girls, the Crystal Gems, Ben 10, Fantastic Four.
Aren't there like 4 people in that team?
No, I'm pretty sure they're 3. Even Avatar with Ozai's Angels, that actually started as a fan nickname, and it got so big that even the official Avatar YouTube uses it now. Talk about the power of a fandom. On that note, I would like to thank the Snoopers. Never thought I'd be saying that. Thank you all very much for 7k subscribers. But getting back to the video itself, it's not just about listing examples, it's about the structure underneath that makes certain trios work so well. The do's and don'ts of creating the perfect trio. So if you're an aspiring character designer, script writer, or maybe you're just curious to know the formula behind a good trio, then you'll benefit a lot from this. The members of a trio are usually given a distinct set of often stereotypical character traits to differentiate them from one another. Take the Crystal Gems, for instance. Garnet is the stoic, all-knowing leader. Pearl is usually the voice of reason, and Amethyst is the chaotic component of their team. Same can be said of the Powerpuff Girls. Blossom is the genius leader who maps out the plan of action. Bubbles is the sweetheart, and Buttercup's the type to give wedgies to the school bully, or maybe be the bully herself. This can be said about the most prominent trios we see on the big screen. The thing about their personalities is that they are highly exaggerated to truly make them stand out. When you exaggerate those traits, it actually makes the characters more relatable. It's like we see parts of ourselves in these amplified personalities, even if it's just a sliver of, whatever their dominant trait is. Sasuke's broodiness, Bubbles' innocence, Pearl's astuteness, traits are elevated above what you would see in the ordinary person. And it's not just about making them memorable, it's also about creating a diversity of viewpoints, So when the trio faces a challenge, you immediately know you're going to get 3 very different reactions, because they all approach things so differently. It keeps things dynamic and engaging for the audience, like we're seeing the same problem, but through totally different lenses. Almost like each character represents a different part of ourselves. That's probably why we have so many "what character are you" kind of quizzes. Everyone wants to know where they fall within this dynamic. Now there's a bit of nuance that comes with assigning these traits. Let's talk about
layering.
Layering?
Yeah, it's about adding depth and nuance to an otherwise flat character, giving them traits that go beyond their initial stereotype. So it's not enough to just have the stoic leader or the chaotic one. We need to see those moments where the labels break down and you get a glimpse of something deeper, something more human, more complex, more relatable.
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this.
Giving characters traits that go against or complicate their initial stereotype makes them unpredictable. It keeps us guessing. Like take Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls. She's the sweet, innocent one, but then we learn she can be surprisingly ruthless if you push her too far. Like when she went full warrior to prove she could be hardcore.
It's such a great example because it's so unexpected, but it totally fits her character.
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? It's not just random contradictions. It's about revealing these hidden depths that actually feel real. There's actually a formula for this. Introduce a character with a stereotype, but then they break free from it to achieve something greater. Let's say you have a character who's the brains of the group, but then maybe they have this moment where they act impulsively or they make a mistake. They're not perfect. Take Azula from Avatar. She's definitely the leader and has this extremely calculating nature. But then she has these moments of vulnerability, like her awkwardness around boys, which makes her feel more human, more well-rounded.
Absolutely, and without that layering, a character like Azula could easily just become a one-dimensional villain.
Layered personalities are the foundation for the next vital feature of a well-written trio, their relationship. The power of banter and relationship dynamics can't be overlooked when dealing with a trio, or any team for that matter. It's how those personalities clash and complement each other and how they evolve over time. It's these relationships that make a trio feel like a unit. Their banter shows what they really feel about each other. One fascinating example is Azula, Mei, and Ty Lee. Their dynamic is anything but harmonious. On the surface, they're a team with a common goal, but underneath there's this constant tension. It's like a simmering pot about to boil over. You got Azula who's controlling and manipulative, Mei who's apathetic and sarcastic, then there's Ty Lee who just wants everyone to be happy and have fun. It's a recipe for disaster, and their banter shows that. You see these glimpses of them actually connecting, but their loyalty to each other is totally conditional. It's built on fear and ambition rather than real friendship, and that's good writing. Even though they're antagonists, we get the complexity of their relationship, and that makes their downfall so much more impactful. Let's analyze a group that's a bit more supportive, the Crystal Gems. They're a great example of how a trio can embrace their differences and still have this strong, loving bond. They have their disagreements for sure, but there's this underlying respect and affection, and their banter. It's playful, supportive, always laced with this care for each other. It's also a good example of how those individual storylines we talked about can make the trio even better. Each gem has her own past, her own struggles, and it all feeds back into their relationships with each other. So it's not just about being a team, it's about supporting each other's individual journeys too. That's what makes their bond feel so real. Now for a trio whose relationship changes a lot over time, Trevor, Cypher and Alucard, their early interactions are so full of sarcasm and guarded humour. You can tell they're all carrying a lot of pain and don't really trust each other, but as they face challenges together, their banter changes. It becomes less about defence mechanisms and more about real affection. It's like a found family, but one that was forged in the fires of fighting demons. It's a great example of how a trio can have a rocky start, but with shared experiences they can build this unbreakable bond. This kind of makes me think about those classic sibling dynamics like the Powerpuff Girls. Sisterly love and rivalry all at once. They embody those classic sibling roles perfectly, and their banter is pure sibling energy. Playful, teasing, petty arguments, but always with that love and loyalty. All these examples show how banter isn't just for comic relief, although it does add to the entertainment, but it's a tool for revealing character. Those snappy exchanges and inside jokes, they create that sense of intimacy that make the audience feel taken along. We feel like we're part of their group, sharing in their wins and losses. How does all of this actually play out in the action of the story? A lot of these trios are known for their awesome teamwork, those epic battle scenes. That's where fight cohesion comes in. A well-developed trio's bond directly affects how well they work together when they're facing an enemy. It gives them this sixth sense that lets them predict each other's moves and strategize. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses so well that they can cover each other's blind spots. How does their fight cohesion actually work? What makes it so effective? So picture this.
Azula, the primary strategist.
She's often several steps ahead of her opponents and able to manipulate both situations and people to her advantage. Her precision in planning and ability to exploit weaknesses make her a powerful leader. She overwhelms her target with power and directs the team's actions.
Mei, the mid-range disruptor.
Mei takes a mid-range position where she can unleash her throwing knives and arrows. She primarily focuses on preventing enemy movement and neutralizing weaker or faster foes who try to break through.
Tai Li, the close-range agile striker.
Tai Li takes the closest position to the enemy, using her agility to dodge attacks and swiftly neutralize opponents. She focuses on chi blocking key targets, rendering benders or fighters powerless and setting them up for capture. Take Team 7 as another example. You've got Naruto charging in with his shadow clones. He's drawing all the enemy's attention, creating openings for his teammates. Naruto's always the one to rush into danger, but that's where Sasuke comes in. He's more strategic. With his sharing and he can see everything the enemy's doing, analyze their moves, see their attacks coming, and guide Naruto. They're the control and chaos. But what about Sakura? She's kind of underestimated, but she's a key part of that team. She's not just a healer, she's crazy strong. Her chakra control and medical ninjutsu makes her the perfect support for both of them. She can heal them, boost their attacks, even create diversions if she needs to. They each have their role and skill set, but they also just get each other, so they can adapt and improvise. It really is like watching a dance where every move just flows into the next. And that's fight cohesion. Individual skill plus deep trust and understanding. It's not just fighting side by side, it's knowing when to lead, when to support, when to trust your teammates. Each unit is distinct, but they blend together to make something really powerful, and that's what makes those battle scenes so good. Let's wrap up with a hypothetical death battle. Let's say we have the Powerpuff Girls, Team 7, Ozai's Angels, the Crystal Gems, Alucard's Cypher and Trevor, Ben, Kevin and Gwen, Killua, Gon and Kurapika on the battlefield. Which trio do you think is coming out on top and which ones are biting the dust? Comment down below. Think about your favourite fictional trio. What makes them work? What are their strengths, their weaknesses? How do their relationships change? Because by looking closely at the trios we love, we understand storytelling better and the power of connection, even in fiction. And who knows, maybe you'll even make your own iconic trio someday. The world always needs new stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.